Welcome to the second part of the video of what the heck is happening to NFTs, and we are going to talk about Blur.io airdrop and whether it's kind of shady or not, and its war against OpenSea. In October last year, Blur.io, an NFT marketplace, was launched. It was yet again NFT marketplace, and why would we need another one if we have the dominant OpenSea that works fine? Well, Blur.io offered new functionality for people, and new functionality is something that can get you a dominant position in a space, because that's how OpenSea got into its place, by offering on-chain minting, just instant minting of NFTs. So will Blur.io's functionality replace OpenSea? Well, let's see, because it had a very smart strategy with its airdrops. The first airdrop was loot boxes for early supporters of the project, which kind of made sense. It was just a normal kind of airdrop. However, the second and the third one were very much encouraging the trading on Blur against other marketplaces. To qualify for those airdrops, you had to delist your NFTs on other marketplaces and put them on Blur at the same or lower price. So they were basically stealing creators from other marketplaces, but come on, it's not just creators that they were stealing, and I'm sure people were just creating random collections just for the sake of the airdrop. What was attractive about that is that the tokenomics of Blur allocated a large portion of their total token supply to airdrops. And we know from Aptos experience that airdrops make people like your project so much so more. Nothing seems too bad, it just seems like a smart marketing strategy of Blur. However, there are a few things that are questionable and probably a little shady. So you're just basically encouraging people to make up the sale volume on your marketplace. And that is encouraging a lot of wash trading. Wash trading is when you're basically selling your NFT to yourself or to your friend and then buying it back, and then doing this all over again so that you have a large sale volume. So most people understand that most of the sale volume that with which Blur surpassed OpenSea, so to say, is from this kind of trading that people did just for the sake of getting the airdrop. The second thing that is questionable is that the team behind Blur is anonymous. Anonymous team that's constantly raising and offering a bunch of airdrops. Well, okay. The last thing I want to mention is the tokenomics. It was released on the day when the token was launched. And we had a backlash for Aptos for that. Like, what the heck, Aptos? You released your tokenomics on a day when you launch your token. Is it how the things are done? No, it's not how things are done. And Blur did the same thing. However, as we've seen, airdrops cover so much, so that people just don't care. Let's move back to its war against OpenSea, because there is some drama going on there. It mostly concerns royalties for creators. Royalties are basically percentage that goes from each secondary sale back to the original creator of the NFT. Blur has enforced them to be mandatory for all sales for 0.5% of the price, and OpenSea has them optional. What creators can do to have the royalties enforced in a way is block their NFTs to be sold on certain marketplaces in the code of the NFT itself. So there are several options you can do. You can not block anything, you can block OpenSea, or you can block Blur. And there is where the whole thing kind of starts. If you list on OpenSea and block Blur, OpenSea will enforce royalties to you as a creator. However, you will still be able to trade on Blur, also with enforced mandatory royalties on Blur. If you don't blacklist any kind of marketplace, then your NFT can be sold both on OpenSea and Blur has 0.5 royalties enforced and OpenSea does not, and therefore most people would love to trade on OpenSea because they wouldn't want to pay the commission to the creator back, even though it's nice to do so. The third option you can do is list your NFT on Blur and block OpenSea, and therefore you will only be able to trade the NFT on Blur and earn therefore the creator fees, the royalty of 0.5% minimum from the price, and will not be able to trade on OpenSea at all. And Blur recently published an article where they recommended that all creators blocklist OpenSea and only leave Blur. They are aggressively promoting the royalties to be enforced on every platform. And that seems to be working. Blur surpassed OpenSea in its sale volume, and OpenSea does not want to lose its dominant position, obviously, and while some random Blur exchange is challenging it, And what are they doing? They posted a tweet recently that they are implementing 0% fees for a limited time. It is usually 2.5%, introducing an optional creator earnings of 0.5%, and there is also more leniency on other operations. You can read more about it on their Twitter because it was quite a bulky announcement. However, what they basically did is they acknowledged that they lost some users to Blur and they thought that they need the users back. Let's see where this war goes on, because where there is competition in economics, there is better prices, better deals for the consumers, because we have zero fees for OpenSea and then we have royalties for Blur for the creators. So there are some perks that are emerging for us. So honestly, I don't mind that we have this competition. Let's have more competition. However, I am not sure how sustainable that is, because again, Blur released all the incentives out. It had the airdrop. Most people claim the airdrop, 90% of people, that's a lot. And they sold it out. And how Blur is going to keep the creators? If this kind of work continues, I don't mind because we will just get more perks. But it's interesting whether Blur will continue to go higher, higher and higher, or whether it will just calm down at this medium space and OpenSea will be stayed at top. Let's see how it progresses. Thank you very much for watching this video, and see you in the next one.